My name is Ben Ramos. I'm a third-year technical director here at IU. What a technical director means, because a lot of people don't actually know what that title means, is that I am in charge of the engineering and the construction that goes into the scenic design for a given show. In this case, the scenic designer's name is Rachel Rose Burke. She designed a wonderful set that you see in another video for this production. So normally how the process goes for me is that Rachel will submit a drafting packet, then I have to go through and actually come up with what we'll call blueprints for how to build the scenery, which is where my life gets really interesting. And so pre-pandemic and pre-COVID-19, what my job normally looks like is managing not only the construction of the scenery, but also managing the budget, managing the people and the labor that goes into the actual construction of the scenery. But that's just the scenic portion of my job. The other part of my job is actually being a technical manager. And it's something that we really hit home here through our education here at IU, whereas, a lot of times as a technical director, we are the ones who end up really fixing a lot of people's problems. So pre-COVID-19, a lot of my life would look like, okay, here's the set, cool. Has the lighting designer seen this? Has the sound designer seen this? Has the costume designer seen this? Does everybody know what's happening with the set and with the space backstage? And, especially if we're doing, a show like this where it is a significantly smaller cast, but a relatively big set. And it's like, how do we make sure people have access to all their entrances and exits? And how do we make sure that everybody is safe at the end of the day? So that's really how my job looks right now. Looks normally in pre-pandemic, and usually I am the go-to, between set, lighting, and sound at the end of the day. And so it's all about coming together to create a wonderful production. So for this set, there are a lot of elements to this set. Rachel has designed a beautiful set that I wish we could have put on stage. I'll just name a couple of the elements here for you guys. So there is a upstage wall with some stone texture. There is a rose window with some stained glass in it that's really cool. There are some circle platforms as well. And there's a band platform for the live band. There's a lot of interesting elements that actually makes it really fun to be able to do my job, to be able to actually, engineer how this window is hanging. How are these walls put together? How do you make a circle platform? Things that we don't normally do every day when, a lot of times we end up dealing in rectangles and triangles and things are a little bit more normal. So for me, in coming up with my own drafting packet and my own blueprints, it's actually been really fun to sit there and have the time to go through the engineering process for it all. And a lot of those elements are things that I wish we could see in reality. But once the pandemic hit, we decided to go all virtual, which is where my job now has kind of turned into more of a people manager and a technical manager, more than actually managing the shop and actually building things, because we're not providing any scenery. But for now, I have basically kind of become a buffer and a collaborator with the scenic designer and the props master to come up with props and maybe some other elements that get added to the show here and there. I will say it's a little bit less involvement than normal, which is a little hard and different for me. But on the plus side, as I mentioned earlier, it has given me a lot more time to be able to really delve into my drawings and my drafting and my engineering, and spending the time to actually engineer the pieces and parts to this set, and also taking the time to be able to come up with a packet that is really detailed and professional and presentable. And so in a way, yes, while we're not building physical scenery, and yes, while we're not actually putting the show up in the Mets, for me personally, it has been really nice to actually have a lot more time to hone in on the craft that is, my own drafting. It is a little bit difficult to answer that question, because a lot of my job and a lot of, my life in a way as a theater maker is the hands-on, is the tangible, is this piece of wood gets magically sculpted into this statue. This we pull a lot of magic off. I mean, we turn random pieces of wood into pieces of beautiful scenery that then go out on stage. Um, so it's been a challenge to kind of find a way to express myself artistically in this moment. For me, I've been able to really craft my own style in terms of my draftings and my drawings. Because at the end of the day, that is also art, for me. A lot of people don't think of drawings and blueprints as, as an actual medium for artistic expression. A lot of times it's just viewed as, a pieces of lines on a page that end up becoming a wall, and that's it, that's all it is. But there's actually a craft to how you tell the story of the design through your drawings. And for me, it's been really great to be able to come up with more of a specific communication style, and more of a uh, give kind of a more artistic flair to my drawings. And then, besides my drawings, I think one of the other ways that I felt a little bit more connected is to actually, because we're virtual now, I've actually been able to have the time to actually look in on rehearsal. And while, yes, my involvement may be a little less, I'm still trying to stay engaged. I'm still trying to, communicate with the props master to help brainstorm ideas of things that I see in rehearsal. It's been really good to kind of redefine what being involved in a production means for me, because a lot of times, for us in the technical manager world and the technical director's world and the carpenter's world, what we see of the show is just what we build every day. We don't necessarily get to see all the pieces go together until tech rehearsal. And so now, in a way, it's this, new virtual rehearsal, and, having access to everything a little bit easier has kind of uh, affected me in a way that, hey, I need to retune in to the production that's happening, whether it's this one or the next one or ones in the future, post pandemic. It's about being involved not only with the scenic designer and what you do, but also with, the show itself. And I think that's how I've definitely changed my kind of my view on how involved, and how I can provide a artistic lens to my own work, but also, the work of the production as a whole. So there is something that I really wish that the audience could experience, and it's really the set that Rachel has designed at the end of the day. But the one big element that I've mentioned in this interview before is the window. Now, this window is 16 foot. It's a 16-foot diameter circle that's hanging in the Wells Mats, which is our black box space. So it's about engineering it, really. And so it would have been really cool to see all the engineering and all the time that I've spent in my drawings now, it would be really cool to see it come together in reality and actually hanging, 20 feet in the air is this 16-foot circle with, all this tons of foam layers, carved foam, as well as plexiglass. And it was going to be this beautiful stained glass paint treatment alongside it. And it was really going to be, this as I have been working on it more and more. There are so many layers, and it's so complex that I wish that I could have the satisfaction in a way of seeing it in space. Like while seeing it on a piece of paper is still, cool. And hey, look, I did that, and it could work out. But that's the one big element that I really wish people could witness is this gigantic rose window hanging in the space. So a new tool that I've actually been able to kind of harness and go into is Zoom, but more specifically, the screen sharing aspect to Zoom and the actual ability to communicate, my thoughts and my drawings and uh, uh, my opinions via a screen, which in like in nowadays in our world, in TD world, we use a program called AutoCAD. It is a drafting program. So think about, people spending hours and days drawing all these wonderful renderings, all these wonderful designs. Now it all takes place in this computer program. And so a lot of times pre-pandemic, it was really difficult to communicate about AutoCAD to another person unless it was taking a picture of it or a screenshot of it and sending it via email. And now it has become almost normal to, hey, I'm having this problem. Here's my actual workspace. Here's my actual screen. Can we talk about this? Can we help each other out? And I think, that's the one thing that I think Zoom and being virtual has actually allowed is kind of a lot more ease of transparency and a lot more ease of actually sharing information. And by that, I mean, specifically, it comes down to nowadays, it's so much easier to share a drawing or share a Excel spreadsheet because surprise, Excel spreadsheets never end sometimes. For those of you watching this who think that Excel spreadsheets are something you learn in, at least I learned them in high school and they go away and die, that is not true. It is a fun time. I now love Excel. But I think for me, definitely one of the new tools I've definitely gotten used to now, and I can never see not going back, is definitely screen sharing. And with Zoom and tons of other platforms, especially, as I'm about to leave as a third year going into into the professional TD realm, I think it'll definitely help all of us communicate better because a lot of times designers and directors are not necessarily in the same state or in the same room, which is even more so true now. So it definitely allows us to share information a lot better. And it's one of the tools that I definitely feel like I've definitely harnessed now, especially since I'm also teaching right now. It has really helped show examples to my students or to my fellow instructor or to other professors. It's definitely a really great and handy tool. So yeah, I would say one of the tools that I've definitely harnessed is definitely just screen sharing itself.